So today I'm walking up Offham Hill, Offers Hill, which sits just next to Offham outside of Hamsey. And I'm going to go up to the top of the hill and tell you a story about the Templars, because from up there we might get a pretty good viewpoint of the area where it all happened. So here we are in Offersham. It looks to me like another area with a lot of these little flat-topped places, which I don't think are burial mounds. So yeah, we then have to decide what they are. And again, we're in a nice little kind of scooped out valley of the Downs that's protected from the prevailing southerly winds, which come in from over there. And then you've got all these amazing little spots. So I'm guessing that Offers Hall, Offers settlement was up here, just like over there where we have Melendanes, Morling Hill, the settlement of Morling, of Ael's people. Right, the year, my friends, is 1307, and the Ouse Valley looks incredibly different to how it does as we're looking at it now. Across the way we have a hill fort sitting on top there. None of these buildings are here. The Ouse Valley itself is flooded completely with water. So the current river we're looking at would have been a completely flooded sea channel that came all the way through and over to Hamsey Church, which I think you can see on the bluff over there. Hamsey was known as the Seat of Nobility, because that's where all of the Anglo-Saxon kings met, because of its easy location, easy to find. You come straight down from New Haven all the way down the channel, and eventually you end up at Hamsey. You can't miss it. So for any kings, queens, anyone from any neighbouring nations to find their way to this place, is very simple to navigate to by boat, and so they do. It then becomes an incredibly important place over many centuries. Across the channel, King Philip is currently in an awful lot of debt to the Templars, and he has planned a dawn raid on Friday the 13th in the year 1307, and what he plans to do is to completely remove power from all of the Templars in his lands in France, and to steal their wealth to pay his debts, or to cancel his debts, because he actually owes the money to the Templars, who have been providing him with support for a very long time. The Templars themselves have found out about this, so they decide, they found out, some found out, most were captured, but some found out, and the legend goes that they left the shores of France and then made their way who knows where. Well, let's have a look at this place again. It's the current conjecture is that they made their way to Scotland, and the Templar treasure eventually ended up under Rosslyn Chapel. Problem with all of these incredible thought processes, these incredible stories, is that none of them actually produce any result. They all talk about everything, nothing ever gets discovered. They're great stories with no completion, with no actual treasure to show you at the very end of it. Well, I'm going to show you where it is, and we're eventually all going to get to see it, and it is underneath that church. So the Templars flee France. They make their way down through the Ouse Valley in the middle of the night, slowly coming down here. They don't want to be seen, because if they get caught, then spies of the kings might tell Philip that they arrived here. So they come dressed in black insignia, and they don't tell anyone they're here. They arrive here. Their masts are too tall to fit under the bridge, which is over here, there, and so they have to park their ships in this valley here, which again would have been flooded. So I'm guessing somewhere over there. From there, they have to make their way to Hamsey Church. Now, in Hamsey Church, Peter de Melendanes is sitting there. He is the rector of Hamsey Church. He is also the son of Rogerius de Melendanes, who just so happens to be the Grand Master of the Knights Hospitallers. And Peter is sitting there waiting for news, waiting for the ships, and the ships turn up in the middle of the night. Peter goes to meet them. Now, in France, the Templars had to load the ark onto a very sturdy cart with iron axles, and the ship obviously had to be enormous to get the ark onto the cart and then onto the ship. So it's a very big Templar ship. So now they're making their preparations to take the treasure of Solomon's temple along with the Ark of the Covenant off of the ship and into Hamsey Church to hide it beneath a ancient vault they know about but nobody else does. So they make their way over to Hamsey Church. Once they get there, they cover it back up with a Hessian cloth, and the Knights Templar depart these shores, leaving the Ark and a few people with Peter de Melendanes to secure it and to find out a way of making it safe and hidden from the king and from anyone else who might want to try and find it and take it from them. So the few remaining Templars remain, most disappear. They head off to Scotland, and they are going to make themselves seen all the way up to Scotland, so that when the king finds out where the ships went, he immediately turns his attention to Scottish lands and goes to look for them up there. And then we find out that the kings are always fighting with Scotland immediately after this date, interestingly. So the Templars are now here, few of them, with Peter de Melendanes, the son of the Grand Master of the Knights Hospitaller, and they decide that they need to find a way of hiding the Ark of the Covenant. So first of all, they build the tower to the left of the church to protect their goods and to protect their treasure. Then secondly, they take down the far eastern wall of the church, and from there they make a bigger opening so that they can get the ark in underneath it, and then they spend a lot of time rebuilding that area and then covering up all of the evidence. Peter de Melendanes helps them with all of that. Then 13 years later, the Black Plague hits, and ships are coming in. The work's all done. Everyone who knows about this knows about this. But the Black Plague arrives, and this is a secluded little promontory of the mainland, and the ships arrive here, and they bring the Black Death with them. Everybody dies. Everybody. Nobody remembers what had happened here. And the treasure is lost for hundreds and hundreds of years, until one day a man called Nicholas Poussin, who lives across the channel in a little village just south of Dieppe, he decides to take a trip over to Britain, to England, and he makes his way to Dieppe, which should not take very long because his little village is right next to it, and he crosses the channel to Newhaven, and we still have the Newhaven to Dieppe ferry route, and he goes up the Ouse and he finds himself at Hamsey Church. And when he gets to Hamsey Church, he starts looking around, and much to his amazement, he, for some reason, discovers what everyone else has missed, and he doesn't know what to do about that. There are treasures beyond measure beneath the church, and you know, anyone will try and bite his right arm off to find that and to take it away from him, so he keeps it a secret. But it's a treasure beyond imagining, which he wants to keep a secret, but he also doesn't want it to fall into the wrong hands, which at the time was a very real possibility, and who knows, might still be today. But ultimately, I haven't been led here just to fucking ignore everything. So yeah, I'm going full in, and I'm just trying to let you know what's happened here and what the possibilities are. So yeah, the reality is it is under there, or it was under there, because we come to a time around 1910. Suddenly the whole church takes on a different look. Lots of things are moved around, and it seems very much like it was purposely disguised. A de Sade tomb that once stood on the little chancel to the side of the church disappears. Flagstones have their markings erased. The altar tomb of the de Sades disappears. A little tomb is created with a canopy on it to make it seem like that's the canopied altar tomb, but obviously isn't. All the de Sade references of the de Sade tomb are wiped from the record. Nobody knows about this place. Everything that's to do with Lewes gets completely erased from the record. Why is that? Okay. before Nicholas Poussin arrives on these shores, who would no doubt have had to have travelled down a slightly larger river, but not the river that we see today. This is just so much narrower than it used to be. And it's an utterly important fact. If we keep thinking that the sea was not here, then how on earth could anything have ended up here? If we understand that this was once surrounded by water, I mean, that's what the actual name of the place means, Ham, house by the water. Then we understand that big ships could used to travel all the way down here, and what a perfect hiding place when the sea receded, because no one would ever even imagine that anything could have made its way this far inland, but yet it did. So yeah, 1500s appear or come, and for some reason the temperatures are a lot colder than they are now, and a mini ice age takes a hold of the land, and frost fairs are held on the ice in London. It's a cold period. During that time, ice caps are forming back out on the ocean, and for some reason the sea levels drop dramatically, leaving Pevensey Castle, which is way over in the distance over there. Oh, you can't actually see it, I'm talking metaphorically. That gets left stranded 7 miles from the coast, but it used to have a it was a seaport again, so we have it all along the southern coast of Britain. The sea recedes in the 1500s and leaves all these once important places completely derelict. All the hill forts become useless. There's one no doubt up there, Offham Hill, Ditchling Beacon, which is farther over the top, over the other side, Kingston, a ton or farm of the kings of the South Saxons, all becomes useless. But the beginning point of British history is right there.